Sheikh Hamdan's secret wife has been living in London. This whole time London, not Dubai. Not a palace visible from the skyline of the city that carries his family's name on every tower and every institution and every piece of infrastructure that exists because of the vision his father built from the ground up, not anywhere near the official geography of his life. London, quiet, private, a city large enough to absorb the presence of a woman whose connection to one of the most recognized names in the Gulf would never make it into a London newspaper or a London conversation or any of the visible spaces that London offers to the people living inside it. She has been there this whole time, raising the children, building the ordinary daily life that the private version of his story required her to build somewhere that was not Dubai and was not anywhere the official world of Sheikh Hamdan was likely to look. She has been in London, and the world, which has been following the public version of his life with the kind of sustained attention that royal figures attract, has not known. Until now. The London chapter did not begin as a permanent arrangement. That is the starting point for understanding how she ended up there and why she has stayed. She did not move to London because London was her first choice or because the society offered something specifically that no other city could offer. She moved to London because London was far enough from Dubai to satisfy the requirements of the palace's management of a situation that had become impossible to manage from within the same geography. The private relationship, the one that had produced children and a home and years of genuine commitment, had become too visible within the Dubai context for the people managing the official story to be comfortable with its proximity. She needed to be somewhere else, somewhere that did not share a city with the official version of his life, somewhere the two worlds could continue their parallel existence without the risk of the kind of collision that was becoming increasingly possible as long as they occupied the same metropolitan space. London was chosen with the specific logic that governs all of these decisions, not for what it offered her, but for what it solved for the management of the situation. It was far enough. It was large enough. It was international enough that the presence of a woman and her children, even children who carried the Al Maktoum bloodline in the specific way that her children carried it, would not produce the kind of local attention that a smaller city or a more connected community might produce. London could absorb them. And London, with its own vast and complicated relationship to the world's wealthy and powerful, and the private lives those people live within its borders, was practiced in the specific art of not asking questions about the people who arrive quietly and make quiet lives, and prefer to remain unconnected to the larger narratives that produce them. She built a life there, real and ordinary in the way that private lives are supposed to be, unremarkable from the outside, significant from the inside, organized around the daily requirements of raising children and maintaining the kind of stability that children need, regardless of the extraordinary circumstances that produce their existence. She found schools, she found routines, she found the specific rhythms of a life in a city that was not home, but that was offering what home was supposed to offer: consistency, safety, the ongoing ordinary texture of days that feel like they belong to the person living them. She built that. In London, while the official version of his life continued in Dubai, without any public acknowledgement of what was happening in the city she was building her life in. Hamdan traveled to London. That detail is in the public record, in the indirect way that things appear in the public record when they are not the point of any specific announcement, but show up consistently enough in the background of other information to become part of the visible pattern. He was in London around Eid. He was in London for periods that the official schedule did not fully account for. He traveled there with the specific regularity of a man who has something in London that produces the regularity, not business, not the kind of official engagement that the palace would have released a statement about, but something personal, something private, the kind of thing that produces a specific destination that a person returns to with the specific quality of intention that distinguishes a required visit from a chosen one. The children are growing up English in the specific way that children who live their formative years in a country become shaped by it. Their accents, their references, their understanding of the world as mediated through the city they have grown up in rather than the city their father comes from. They are both carrying the bloodline of one of the most significant royal families in the Gulf and simultaneously becoming the products of London's specific texture of life. Both things are true simultaneously, and the dual truth of what they are becoming is something that only the private version of their story can hold. The official version, the one that does not acknowledge their mother or their existence, has no framework for the complexity of what they actually are. She has been careful. That is the word that the people who know about her London life most consistently use when they speak about her. Careful in the specific way that a woman in her position needs to be careful, not drawing attention, not making connections that might become traceable, not living in a way that produces visibility when invisibility is what the situation has always required of her. She has been so careful that the world has not known she was there, has not known that the secret wife, the real one, the one who has a relationship with Hamdan, that is grounded in genuine feeling rather than in arrangement and alliance, has been living in London this whole time, close enough that he could reach her, far enough that the management could breathe. The children will not be in London forever. That much can be said with reasonable confidence. The specific chapter of the London life, built for the specific purpose it has served, organized around the requirements of a management situation that may or may not continue to require the same solution indefinitely, is contingent in the way that all chapters in this story are contingent on what the palace decides, on what the political circumstances require, on what Sheikh Mohammed determines is the correct next configuration for the people whose lives are arranged around the requirements of the crown. The London chapter could continue, or it could be replaced by another arrangement that serves the same purpose from a different geography. What will not change? What cannot be changed by any arrangement or any geography is the fact of who she is to him and who the children are to both of them. She is in London. She has been there this whole time, raising his children in a city that does not know her connection to him, living the private life that the official story has decided cannot be made visible, being the real chapter of his story in a place where the official chapter cannot reach. And Hamdan flies to London, and the world thinks it knows why, and it does not. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell. Every week, I bring you the real story of Sheikh Hamdan, the secret wife in London, the children growing up in a city that does not know their father's name, and a truth about the life that has been happening in plain sight and completely hidden at the same time.